My name's Ryan. I'm 29, and up until a month ago, I thought I had my life pretty well figured out. I had a solid job as a software engineer in Austin, Texas. Nothing flashy, but enough to pay my bills, fuel my obsession with soccer, and keep me happy with season tickets to the local MLS team. Life was simple and good. Soccer has been my passion since I was a kid. You could say it's borderline obsession. My apartment looks like a shrine dedicated to the sports scarves lining the walls, framed jerseys signed by my favorite players, collectible figurines perched on shelves. I even converted an old stadium seat into my coffee table. Yeah, I get called a man-child a lot. I don't mind. I met my girlfriend, who I'll call Lauren, 3 years ago at a soccer bar during a heated match between LA Galaxy and Seattle Sounders. She caught my eye immediately. A stunning blonde wearing a Galaxy jersey who actually knew her stuff. She could name every starter and their positions without hesitation. That kind of knowledge, that was an instant attraction for me. We hit it off right away, exchanging numbers before the game ended. From then on, match days became our ritual. Lauren would be right there beside me, cheering and groaning with every play. For our first anniversary, she surprised me with a signed Christian Pulisic jersey, something I knew must have cost a fortune. I nearly teared up. A year and a half later, I proposed. She said yes, and suddenly our shared love for soccer filled every corner of our shared home. Match schedules covered the fridge, scarves hung everywhere, and tickets from games we attended together were carefully framed. She'd tease me sometimes for going on lengthy rants about transfer rumors or referee decisions, but I figured that was just part of being a soccer fan's partner. Lauren worked at a fancy marketing agency downtown, climbing the ladder steadily. Her boss, Derek, was a classic exec, silver hair, tailored suits, and a flashy Maserati. He was the kind of guy who showed up at every company event with Lauren always giggling and acting all professional around him. I thought it was just office politics, networking, and nothing more. Lauren's job at the marketing agency kept her busy, and her boss, Derek, was always around, exuding that confident executive vibe, salt and pepper hair, tailored suits, and that sleek black sports car that everyone noticed. At company events, she'd light up around him, laughing a little too much, acting more like a teenager with a crush than a professional. I tried to brush it off as just normal office dynamics, telling myself it was all just networking and nothing to worry about. About a month ago, Lauren left for a business trip to Dubai. All expenses paid, first-class flights and stays in luxury hotels. Her Instagram exploded with glamorous photos lounging by the hotel pool, camel rides in the desert, and team dinners with the marketing crew. Meanwhile, I was back home watching Champions League games solo and texting her excited updates about the goals and highlights she was missing. At first, her replies were warm, wish you were here or miss you. But as the days dragged on, her messages grew shorter and colder. The enthusiasm faded. Sometimes I'd send a detailed match recap only to get a one-word response or nothing at all. When Lauren finally came back, something felt off. The Galaxy jersey she used to wear to bed was nowhere to be found. Plans to watch matches together suddenly conflicted with work catch-ups or social events she had to attend. When I suggested inviting friends over for the big derby game, she looked at me like I'd asked her to host a tax audit in our living room. Then came the night everything shattered. We went to an upscale sushi restaurant downtown, Lauren's choice. I was excited because they had TVs and there was a crucial World Cup qualifier on. But as the hostess led us to a table near the screens, Lauren stopped her. "Can we sit somewhere else?" she asked, pointing away from the TVs. "I can't handle another night of soccer." Her words hit me like a punch. Another night. "But you've always loved soccer." The look she gave me, cold, distant, like the mask she'd been wearing slipped off for good, haunted me. Then she dropped the bombshell, "Ryan, I've never really cared about soccer. Not once." I sat there, chopsticks frozen, as she explained how she'd been faking it for years, coached by her best friend Zoe, who had helped her learn enough about the game to fool me. I sat there, stunned, chopsticks halfway to my mouth as Lauren revealed the truth that tore my world apart. She admitted she had been pretending to care about soccer for the entire 3 years we were together. Her best friend Zoe had coached her on player names, basic rules, and enough trivia to fool me into believing she was a genuine fan. "It was all a show," Lauren said, taking a slow sip of her sake, as if this was just casual conversation. "I thought you'd grow out of it eventually. Most guys have phases, car phases, guitar phases. I figured your soccer obsession was just another one." Her words hit me like a cold slap. Why lie? Why pretend? Lauren shrugged, clearly impatient with my confusion. "Because I wanted to be with someone ambitious, someone who cared about real things like career advancement, money, and stability. Soccer didn't fit that image." I was numb. Everything we had shared, every match watched together, every passionate rant about a bad call, it was all fake to her. Worse still, she confessed that she had been cheating on me with her boss Derek for years. "He's got the ambition I want," she said, eyes shining with a relieved glow. "Penthouse apartment yacht connections. He inspires me. I'm not going to lie, that's what I'm after." I tried to speak, but the words caught in my throat. "And you pushed me to stay at my job. Told me to quit applying for better positions to keep me stuck." Lauren nodded, dismissive. "Yeah, I wanted you right where you were, comfortable, not challenging me." I felt the weight of betrayal crush me. The woman I loved had not only lied about everything but had actively sabotaged my career and cheated on me with the man I'd trusted as her boss. I grabbed my wallet, slammed cash on the table for my share of the meal, and told her we were done. She tried to talk about being adults and moving on, but all I could see was years of deceit unraveling before me. As I left the restaurant's eyes seemed to follow me, whispers trailing behind like shadows. My phone buzzed nonstop with messages from mutual friends suddenly concerned about my reaction, but I was done being silent. At home, the final blow hit when I saw a note on the fridge saying Lauren was taking half her things and hoped we could remain friends. To top it off, she'd taken the signed Pulisic jersey, the one that had cost me months of work and meant everything to me. The days after Lauren's betrayal were some of the hardest I've ever faced. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus, and every corner of my apartment seemed to echo with the lies and fake smiles that had filled our relationship. The signed Pulisic jersey, now gone, was more than just a souvenir. It was a symbol of the trust I'd given and the way it had been shattered. What made it worse was how my friends reacted. Instead of supporting me, many took Lauren's side. They believed her stories excused her actions and painted me as the jealous, overly obsessed boyfriend. Their silence felt like betrayal, too. For a while, I stayed quiet, not wanting to fight a losing battle where even my closest allies sided against me. But silence wasn't healing, it was eating me alive. I realized I needed to focus on myself, on rebuilding my life and reclaiming my passion. First, I hit the gym hard, not to impress anyone, but to channel my anger and pain into something productive. The first day back was brutal. After months of neglect, just 10 minutes on the treadmill left me breathless and dizzy. But every drop of sweat felt like a step toward freedom. Next, I turned my attention to work. For years, I'd been coasting at my software development job, stable, safe, but stagnant. I remembered a job offer I'd hesitated to accept, partly because Lauren had discouraged me from rocking the boat. With new resolve, I called my old boss the very next morning and accepted a position at a competing firm. The pay was better, the challenges real, and the opportunity to grow was exactly what I needed. I found a new apartment downtown, sleek, modern, with floor-to-ceiling windows and just a short walk to the stadium. It was expensive, but with my new salary, it felt like a fresh start, free from the memories that haunted the old place. I treated myself to a car I'd always wanted, a matte black Audi RS7. Not a flashy sports car like Derek's Maserati, but something that felt like me. Driving it for the first time, windows down, music blasting, I realized I was reclaiming my life. Slowly, things began to improve. Better sleep, better work, and a growing circle of friends who accepted me for who I was, soccer obsession included. I reconnected with teammates from my rec league, people Lauren had never liked because they weren't ambitious enough. As the months went by, I embraced the fresh start with everything I had. The new job was challenging in the best way. Projects that made me think, colleagues who pushed me to be better, and a sense of purpose I hadn't felt in years. 2 weeks in, I was already diving into a major software rollout that would have a real impact. The 30% pay increase didn't hurt either. My downtown apartment became a sanctuary. Gone were the reminders of betrayal and broken promises. I decorated it exactly how I wanted: vintage soccer jerseys framed on the walls, a custom display for my collectible figurines, and a massive TV perfectly positioned for match days. For the first time in a long time, I looked around and felt at home. The Audi RS7 turned heads, sure, but more than that, it symbolized my independence and hard work. Unlike Derek's flashy Maserati, my car wasn't a distraction or a compensation, it was a reward for rebuilding my life on my own terms. Socially, things shifted too. I reconnected with old friends from my recreational soccer league, the guys who'd always been solid, but whom Lauren never approved of because they didn't climb corporate ladders or have fancy titles. Those friendships grounded me and reminded me of who I really was. Then, out of nowhere, I got a text from Zoe, Lauren's best friend, and the mastermind behind much of the deception. Her message was simple: "Wow, someone's doing well. Coffee sometime? Would love to catch up." I was skeptical. Zoe had been part of the scheme to fool me, coaching Lauren on everything soccer-related and enabling her affair with Derek. Why would she suddenly want to reconnect? Still, curiosity got the better of me, and I agreed. Our first meeting was at a cafe near my apartment. Zoe looked every bit the influencer: flawless hair, designer clothes, and an air of calculated charm. She asked about my job, my life, and even about Lauren, but her eyes kept darting to my watch and the luxury car parked outside. It became clear quickly that Zoe wasn't here to apologize or reconnect as a friend. She was scouting me, checking if I was a viable option now that I had money and status. I played along, dropping hints about my success, my new apartment, and even a fake upcoming trip to Dubai, the very place Lauren had gone with Derek. Zoe couldn't stop talking, practically spilling secrets about Lauren and Derek's shaky situation. She revealed that Lauren's promotion kept getting postponed, that she maxed out credit cards trying to keep up with Derek's lifestyle, and that Derek's wife was suspicious and building a case for divorce. Zoe even let slip about a big charity gala Derek was hosting where Lauren was set to be introduced as his official partner. I nodded, already planning my next move. Zoe was an unexpected goldmine of information. Over coffee dates and casual dinners, she spilled details I never could have imagined. Lauren had moved into Derek's penthouse, but was forced to hide in the guest room whenever his wife made surprise visits. Apparently, Mrs. Blackwell, Derek's wife, wasn't as clueless as everyone thought. She had hired a private investigator months ago and was quietly building a case to void their prenup due to Derek's infidelity. Zoe laughed darkly as she described how Lauren had once spent 2 hours hiding in a closet just to avoid a confrontation. Meanwhile, Derek kept promising Lauren a director-level position at his company, but every deadline for the promotion mysteriously slipped. Lauren had already told her social circle she was climbing the ladder, but Zoe hinted she was growing desperate, maxing out credit cards to keep up appearances. I wasn't surprised Lauren had always been obsessed with image, but what shocked me was learning she had borrowed money from Zoe just to cover last month's bills, promising to repay after her supposed promotion. Zoe rolled her eyes, clearly doubtful. Then came the most valuable intel: Derek's upcoming charity gala. It was the social event of the season, and Lauren was set to be introduced publicly as Derek's partner, both professionally and personally. Derek was planning to announce a separation from his wife right before the gala, making it a huge moment for Lauren's official entry into the high society world she'd craved. Zoe smirked as she described Lauren's extravagant dress, which apparently cost more than my entire monthly rent. She emphasized that Lauren had been planning for weeks, eager to show off her new status. I listened carefully, pretending mild interest while secretly plotting my move. Zoe even offered to get me an invitation as her plus one, a chance for closure and a perfect stage for what I had in mind. I accepted, knowing this would be the perfect opportunity to expose everything. Zoe, whether she realized it or not, was helping me set the trap. In the weeks leading up to the gala, I maintained the facade of the successful moved-on guy. I dropped hints about luxury trips and investment deals, letting Zoe's imagination run wild. She eagerly shared gossip and whispered secrets, unaware she was walking into a game she couldn't win. The night of Derek's charity gala was like stepping into another world, a glittering, ultra-glamorous scene designed to impress and distract. Zoe and I arrived fashionably late. She looked every bit the Hollywood starlet in a dazzling gown that probably had its own insurance policy. I kept things simple: a tailored black suit, crisp white shirt, and a watch that looked expensive enough to turn heads, even if it was a prop for the evening. Walking in arm with Zoe, I immediately felt the stares. Zoe was well known in this crowd, but I was the unexpected twist no one saw coming. It didn't take long for Lauren to spot us. She was across the room, clinging to Derek like a lifeline, silver-haired, trying too hard to look younger than his 50-something years. Her face when she saw me was priceless. Shock, confusion, then a flicker of regret. We mingled, chatting with people Zoe knew, and I casually dropped hints about my recent success and exciting investment opportunities. By the time we reached Lauren and Derek, half the room was whispering about me. Lauren, Derek, Zoe greeted them with an air kiss. You remember Ryan, of course. Lauren looked like she'd seen a ghost, a well-dressed, suddenly successful ghost. Ryan, she stammered. I didn't expect to see you here. Oh, Zoe was kind enough to invite me, I replied smoothly, extending my hand to Derek. I've heard a lot about you. All good things, I hope. Derek gave a tight smile. Absolutely. Lauren speaks very highly of your mentorship. Lauren shot me a warning glance, but I ignored it. Derek asked, what line of work are you in these days? Perfect opening. I launched into a rehearsed spiel about software consulting and selective investments, sprinkling enough technical jargon to sound credible without giving anything away. I even name-dropped Zetch, Derek's biggest competitor, to get a reaction. His smile tightened noticeably. Impressive, he muttered, then excused themselves to mingle. I heard Lauren hiss, you didn't tell me he was coming. I didn't know, Zoe whispered back. Throughout the evening, I worked the room like a pro, making meaningful connections and positioning myself near the stage where Derek would make his big announcement. At around 10 p.m., Derek raised his glass, commanding silence. He thanked everyone for coming and began his speech about new beginnings. He called Lauren to join him on stage, and as she walked up, I discreetly slipped away to the AV control booth where my friend Kai had given me access earlier. Just as Derek began talking about the charity, I pressed a button on my phone. Suddenly, the giant screen behind the stage switched from the charity's logo to a scrolling display of text messages, private conversations between Lauren and Zoe, revealing years of lies, mockery, and scheming. The room fell silent, then erupted into chaos. The fallout from the gala was immediate and brutal. Derek's wife stormed the stage, furious and determined. Lauren tried to flee but stumbled on her expensive gown. Zoe scrambled to explain herself, but no one was listening. I slipped out quietly, handing the valet my fake watch with a nod and a smile. The next day, Derek's wife filed for divorce. She had suspected infidelity for months but needed proof, and the messages I exposed sealed the deal. With the prenup voided, she took him for everything he had. Lauren was fired from the agency, her reputation in tatters. Last I heard, she had moved back to her hometown to work in her father's insurance business, far from the glitz she once chased. Zoe tried contacting me dozens of times that night, but I blocked her after the 48th attempt. Later, she sent a handwritten apology, which I used to start a barbecue. As for me, I kept my new job, my apartment, and my car. Life had taken a turn for the better. I met Mia at a charity five-a-side soccer tournament when I accidentally kicked the ball into her coffee. She was scouting players for the youth team she coached. Unlike Lauren, Mia didn't pretend to care about soccer, she lived and breathed it. Dating Mia has been refreshing. She calls me out when I'm being dramatic about referee calls and doesn't hesitate to tell me when my analysis is off. We watch matches together every weekend, and she's been teaching me proper techniques. Apparently, I'd been doing corner kicks wrong my whole life. This time, everything feels real. The moral, don't fake love just to land someone. Don't ditch people right before their fortunes change. And most importantly, never underestimate a guy who knows that soccer, like revenge, is about patience, strategy, and knowing when to strike. Game over, ladies, game over.